Well, if you want to reconnect, when the entire pyramid falls over, right, there's going to be something left. Human civilization is not going to end. I'm not that much of a pessimist. In that I am the end game investor, insofar as that is my calling card or whatever you want to call it. That's me being optimistic, because the worst thing that I could envision is this system continuing for years on end as the middle class gets poorer and poorer and poorer and devolves into eating bugs, which is clearly the direction that they want us to go in. And I hope we don't take it. And I hope there's enough people that rebel to not take it. So the question is, what is going to be left when this thing falls over? The things on the top, the derivatives of the derivatives of the derivatives, they're not going to be there. They're going to be valueless. But the dollar itself is a derivative because it derives its value from money. And if you want money, you're going to have to get at these exchange rates. If you want it, you're going to have to get it now, because once the Fed turns for one last time, I believe, and it might not sound rational, but I think it is very rational, that one night, somewhere in Asia, there's going to be some kind of, breakage in the system, and gold and silver, or, maybe on the Shanghai exchange. I'm just making I don't know exactly where, but somewhere is going to go up like $500-600 a night, and then Americans are going to wake up and say, like, what the hell just happened? And then a bunch of nervous people, as they see their stock portfolios tank, they're going to go to gold and silver in any way they can, and then you're not going to be able to get any. If you remember March 2020, I remember it very clearly. Like I went to coin shops and I'm like, okay, this is it. So I'm going to make a big order now, while silver is at like $12 or whatever, and I made a big order, and it said, well, you only get your order in like 6 months. So imagine that, but like 10 times worse. You only get your order in what, 5 or 6 years? What's that? What good's that going to do to you? Everyone's going to attack at the same time. We saw it in Silver Squeeze that one day where there was some kind of panic, and we don't know exactly what caused it, but everyone went to silver. Even people that weren't silverbacks, they just decided, okay, I'm going to just buy silver because it's wired into us. We evolved in a monetary economy by using these things. So just like we evolved, it doesn't go as far back as our body parts, but it goes far enough back that we're all programmed to use money, and we are programmed to see gold and silver as the money. So when there is a panic, that is where people go, not even because they're thinking about it. That's just because that's what they do. So if you want to have any, do it before the rush, because once the rush happens, you're not getting any. So right now the prices are high in the physical stacker markets, in coins, because the premiums for a coin, for 90% silver, for junk silver, I think it's still around 45%, and they've come down from about 50 since I guess a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. But it's still higher than 2008, the peak of the 2008 financial crisis. And silver eagles are still about 65% instead of 75%, still higher than the financial crisis. So yeah, they'll come down as the spot price comes up, just because the prices of physical coins don't move as fast. There's a little bit of a lag. So what I've noticed is that over the past, let's say since 2000, 2006, something like that, whenever the price of silver or gold falls, then the supply in COMEX in New York tends to fall with it. The registered supply especially tends to fall with it. And when the price of gold rises again, then the supply tends to rise. I mean, there was one big exception to this, and that was the March 2020 lockdowns. For whatever reason, the supply just started like pouring into New York, and I think that was a function of the lockdowns. And I can't really explain exactly what was going on. I don't think anybody really can. But aside from that, it goes up. It goes up with the supply goes up with the gold price, and down with the gold price. That's generally what happens. So what I'm looking for now is if gold and silver are headed back up for the longer term, for let's say this is a several month trend or even several year trend, if we last that long in this monetary system, I don't think we will. But if we're on a trend, what's going to happen with the supply? Is it going to stay? Is it going to go higher, or is it going to stay lower? Meaning, are the stackers going to keep bidding up the physical prices so that the supply goes out of the big collections in New York and goes to the little tiny stacker vaults wherever they are in the world? So I'm looking at I'm interested to see where the supply goes now. And so far, it hasn't gone up as gold and silver have risen over the past 2 weeks. There's still drains coming out. Slower, but it's still happening. So I want to see that continue. And that means that the stackers are not, selling or trying to make a buck. They just keep buying. That's what I want to see. Well, we'll see if that's true. We don't know yet.